Is it human? The medic asked, examining the being. We've never had one of those before. The nursing brood responded, its ID says it's human. Maybe there's more than one kind. Is it broken? I'll need to research this. Is it supposed to look like that? Poor thing is all skin. Did it lose its fur? It only has scraps left. The nursing brood pulled out the ID. I think that's how it always looks, they said, pity evident in their voice. The medic wiped the human's face. There's a lot of liquid. I'll need to analyze it. She inserted the swab into her mouth. It's saline solution, trace minerals, and some form of plasma. There's an aftertaste of decaying cell structures, iron-rich. Oh, it's on drugs. Adrenaline? Industrial cleaner? She vomited up the contents of her third stomach. The nurse quickly grabbed her equipment, spraying the counteragent to adrenaline on the medic. Please hold on. This will reduce the effects. Stay calm, it didn't have time to reach your hearts. The medic gripped the floor with every appendage, feeling as if her carapace was about to burst. Finally, she could speak. I want this room sealed, everyone warned to stay away, and everything we know about humans on my data pad right now. Contact the port, they must have met this species before. Why is it here anyway? What happened? Is it the poisons? I'm sorry, the nurse replied. It was delivered by the security team. Apparently, there was a serious accident in the night quarter. It was involved, but I don't know more until they report back. They thought it was dead. The nurse turned back to the patient. The human lay on a medical bed, several inches too short, its garments torn and covered in grime. Was it from the accident, or was it always like that? Many addicts looked rough. It shook its head. Who could tell with aliens? It could be a mating ritual, it often was. Her musings were interrupted by movement. The human turned itself over, groaned, and released a poisonous gas throughout the room. Alerts began screaming, the lights switched to an orange warning pulse, and the doors began sealing. The shriek of the machines drove the pair from the room, which sealed tightly behind them. The disgruntled medic watched through the cameras. Biodecontamination involved a lot of scrubbing. Her data pad had no information about human biology, just an instruction to inform the human government and the ship it had arrived on. Her nurse had demanded sick leave and hazard pay. Now the ward was quarantined. The human just lay on the bed, occasionally making unpleasant noises. Her new nurse was built like a tank, seconded from the picker. She didn't know the species, but from its size, it could remove the human easily. She authorized the medbots to approach the human. A medical team was being assembled, gathering the best consultants on the planet. Someone mentioned biowarfare, which got things moving. Monitoring continued. Occasionally, the human released more poison. The medbots reported the human seemed to be in respiratory failure, its breathing became intermittent, interrupted by loud exclamations and what may have been speech. After a significant expense on medical experts, the medic was summoned. We think the poison might be a defensive measure. It's obviously injured, and the drugs it consumed may be making it worse. From the sounds it's making, it's in distress. Yes, we need to examine it closer, but be careful, it may be hostile. The medbots carefully approached, putting restraints on the visible limbs of the human, all 5 of them. The first 2 passed simply enough, then things went downhill. The human woke up, and seeing 2 medbots rearranging things they probably shouldn't have, hurled both bots into the wall, shouting in rage. The monitors reported adrenaline levels in the room were now increasing exponentially. The human began unstrapping its limbs. The medic had thought it couldn't get worse, but now the creature was attacking. She had no idea where it had concealed its drugs, but now it was a monster. The levels of adrenaline in the room would kill a hive mind. She had one option left. Her nurse had been sealed into the finest biowarfare equipment the hospital could provide. It walked into the ward and opened fire with the best stunner the Psych-W had. The human, still tangled in straps and sheets, took bolt after bolt, growing even more incensed. It seized the monitor beside it and threw it at the nurse. The final shot hit the human directly between the eyes, as did the monitor when it hit the nurse. Both collapsed. Security was mostly paperwork around here, but the night quarter had its moments, thought the constable as he arrived to retrieve the body of the alien from the hospital. Sad, really, that it had died so far from home, but it would be treated with honor. Upon arrival, he was met with panic. Security demanded his ID, and when he mentioned who he was here to collect, he was hustled into a meeting room. From the sirens and air of panic, something was going on. The medic was the first to reach him. "What did you leave here? Aliens are one thing, but this is a monster. We had to close the whole place down." The constable shook his mandibles in confusion. "We left you a corpse, how is that dangerous?" The medic screeched, "A corpse? That thing is alive and on enough drugs to kill everything in this building. It just demolished my nurse and most of the equipment in its room, not to mention poisoning the place. Where is this creature from?" The constable quickly read the report. "It's an engineer, arrived yesterday, waiting for its new ship. It's male, was drinking in the night quarter when there was an accident, a bad one. He recovered the wounded, then the vehicle exploded. We recovered his body, he had been thrown 10 meters into a building. Of course he was dead." "That is not dead out there," the medic replied. "Consider that a medical opinion. Find me someone who can sort this out, or the military will be here next." Engineer Eel walked through the deserted hospital, struggling to keep a straight face. When security explained the problem and showed him the recording, he refused all the bioprotection gear, to the dismay of the medical staff. He sat beside the bed. His brand new engineer was snoring and farting happily. The stunner had lost to a long day on the beer. "Engineer Shills, wake up now." The groggy human looked up. "Eels? What are you doing here?" He pushed himself up. "Where is here, anyway? Sorry, I seem to have lost track of the night, weird dreams. Am I on board already?" Eel smiled. "No, you're fine. Just let me do the talking. Also, sincerely, what were you eating yesterday?" Shills frowned. "I don't know, local version of a kebab, I think." "Well, don't eat another one. Come on, let's get you to the ship? Apparently, you're a hero."